Hey, hi, how's it going, guys? If you're new here, hello, I'm Jelena Rolick. I'm an editor and a writer. I do videos on all sorts of things. I've done videos on my mental health, specifically mine. I've done videos on physical health, again, particularly mine. I've talked about my Parkinson White. I've talked about my spine damage a little bit, I think. I have a lot of physical and mental health issues, so I've talked about a lot of things in that category. But I've talked about books, I've talked about video games, I have talked about makeup, I have talked about a lot of things. In today's video, I want to explain why I talk about all these things, in a way, and I want to just tell you about the importance of learning as a writer. Because any writer will tell you, even for fiction, there is a fair amount of research you have to do to make a believable book. And no matter what, there are so many ways you can do that research, and there's so many things you can get out of learning, even if it's not for research. So I want to tell you today some of my favorite ways to learn, things I've been learning about, and just tell you why I find learning so important. If you're new here, by the way, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I know I can be a little talkative and a little annoying, but I promise you I have a point in my madness, and I really would like to have you back. And if you have ideas for videos, tell me those too in the comments. Please, I'm begging you, tell me your ideas in the comments. Anyway, let's just get right into it. So, first of all, things I'm learning. I learn from all sorts of things. I guess I should have said that this is how I learn. But I learn from all sorts of things. I learn from YouTube videos. I learn from books. I learn from online courses. I learn from daily life. I learn from Snapple caps. I learn a little bit from everyday life in general. You never know what you're going to learn in a day, and I believe in learning something new every day. Sorry, my throat's a little hoarse because I have dry mouth because of my medication, and dry mouth sometimes leads to dry throat, so pardon that. Ta-da, all fixed. Anyway, so I learned from a lot of facets. Now, why is learning so important to me? Well, first off, when I was young, I wanted to be a teacher, specifically for special needs. I personally was a special needs child. I went to special high schools for people with mental health issues, and I really was inspired by my teachers. I mean, I always wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid, but I really wanted to do special needs after I met my own teachers. I was like, wow, these people are really inspiring me. I want to be like them. Anyway, that's what led me to love learning so much, is having great teachers that really instilled in curiosity in me. Now, why is it important for a writer? Well, you can use things you learn on a day-to-day basis for all sorts of things. Say there's a place near me. My pharmacy is in a building that has a historic clock tower. Whenever I go there, I try to imagine a clock tower in my story and how people would rally around it, watch the time change for the new year, things like that. I try to think of what it would be used for, why people would gather around it. I don't know the history of that particular clock tower. I know it's historic because it's literally called the Historic Radburn Building, but I don't know what it's historic for. I should really look that up and learn about it. See? Learning. Anyway, other reasons to learn things. You can learn things about your characters, your culture. For your characters, you can learn about locations that might have an impact on your world building. Anything you learn can be integrated into your writing in a lot of ways. And because of that, I think it's important to learn a variety of things, a variety of ways, and do what works for you, mind you. There are different kinds of learners. I learned in high school not high school, in middle school, excuse me. In middle school, we were taught that there are 3 types of learners: auditory, visual, and kinetic. Now, most people are visual. Let's do a little practice thing that we did when I was in middle school. This is going to be fun. I want you to close your eyes. Are they closed yet? Okay, I think they're closed now. I want you to think about a pink elephant. Keep your eyes closed. Just think about pink elephant. I'll give you about 5 seconds. Or 10 seconds. How's that sound? Okay, stop. You can open your eyes now. Now, when I made you think about the pink elephant, did you see a pink elephant in your head? Or maybe you just heard the words pink elephant constantly repeating in your head? Or maybe you were trying to imagine how it would feel to touch a pink elephant? I don't actually know how kinetic learners react to this. It was only really for visual and auditory. We learned about kinetic later. But if you are one of the first ones and you saw a pink elephant in your head, so to speak, you are of the majority. You are a visual learner. That is what we were told. I personally am an auditory learner. I hear things in my head over and over and over and over and over and over when I'm told to think things. That's just how I am. I also have aphantasia, so I can't really visualize things anyway, so that's part of why I'm not a visual learner. Anyway, knowing the kind of learner you are will help you in grasping information better, but it also will help you know what senses you probably want to work harder on in your stories. Because if you're an auditory learner, chances are you're going to be describing sounds a lot more than, say, smells. In my case, it's a lot more than that because I have congenital anosmia, so I don't know smells for my life. But there are instances where you can figure out what kind of learner someone is just by what sensory details they focus on. Anyway, knowing that will help you know what you tend to focus on potentially. It's not a foolproof plan, but I find it really helpful to know this kind of thing. And it's good to know this about your characters too. What kind of learners are they? How do they react to different stimuli? Think about that, okay? Now here are some places I find helpful to learn and what I'm learning through them. I read a lot of manga, which I learn all sorts of things from. I've learned from books my favorite coping method, which is the Fibonacci sequence. I learned this in a fantasy novel, believe it or not. It's a modern fantasy novel. It's called Magic or Madness by Justine Balestier. I'm probably butchering her name. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm playing with my hair and stuff. But in that book, one of the main character's coping skills is when she's in stress, she recites the Fibonacci sequence. I hadn't learned what that was in school yet. But once I learned it, I was obsessed with it, and I started using it as a coping skill too. You never know what you're going to find in a book. In manga I've been reading lately, I've learned about different kinds of Japanese folklore, about various yokai and things like that from their folklore, and that's giving me insight into my characters and different creatures I can include in my stories, or ways I can adjust my characters and their races in my stories. Know what I mean? Other ways I like to learn are YouTube videos. I watch a lot of different kinds of YouTube videos. I watch medical videos. I recently started watching law videos. I also recently started watching videos about North Korea. I watch videos on making soap. I watch videos on beauty and fashion. I watch videos on pretty much everything under the sun because I just am amazed by the world and I want to learn more about it in any facet I can. And I want to instill that curiosity in you. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to do that somehow. Anyway, another way I like to learn is Coursera. Now, most people talk about Skillshare on YouTube. At least that's what I've personally found. I have not used Skillshare. I want to, but I haven't because I can't afford it. And they want your credit card when you do a trial. So I don't do it. But I've heard great things about it. I highly recommend it if it's up your alley. You can learn all sorts of things there from what I've heard, from business to crafts to other things. So, really good idea. Try it out if you can and tell me what it's like. If you're not going to do that, though, what I recommend is Coursera. Coursera is a learning community also. Sorry, I get itchy sometimes. I'm a human, I get itchy and stuff. Sorry. Also, sorry if I made you itchy by saying itchy. Coursera. Coursera is a online learning community type thing. They have online classes from all sorts of universities and colleges in one place, and you can audit classes for free. You can pay to get credits for the class, college credits, or to help you get your certifications. But for me, I don't have the money, as I said already, but I love auditing courses. Sure, I can't get graded, but I can take part in peer review assignments. I can watch all their content and read all their content for the classes, and some of them are really fascinating based on the subject matter. Some are fascinating because of the teachers. Like, I'm currently taking 2 classes. I am currently taking a basic introduction to personal branding, and I'm also taking an introduction to game design. And my game design teacher, I forget his name because I suck with names, even though I'm a writer. I'm terrible with actual people's names. My teacher literally has a Muppet of sorts that he talks to on the videos to help make his points and stuff. And it's honestly hysterical. I made my dad watch one of my coursework videos with me just so I can show him that. And I'm pointing that way because my dad's in his room, and it's that way. I don't know why I'm telling you that. But I find the courses intriguing. I've taken an introduction to songwriting class. I took an healthy eating class. Mind you, I say I took these, but I never actually finished them because I got overwhelmed over time. I'm learning to just take it slow, do just a couple courses instead of like 5. But I took public speaking. I want to take some other classes in various other fields. I'm looking forward to doing them, but first I'm going to finish these 2 I'm on because I'm really enjoying them. And that's another thing. Trying different things, trying to learn different things in general can help you grow as a person. Because learning new things is experiencing new things. And learning and experiencing new things can really help you learn a lot about yourself. I never thought of what my 3 little words are that describe me. I can't remember the 3rd word right now. But honesty and creativity play a big part in my life. And that is part of my personal brand. My personal branding class taught me that. I also learned in game design how different forms of rules affect the gameplay for the player. We learned how to make basic games on paper, and honestly, it's just really fun. And I'm learning a lot, and I'm really thankful for it. I just can't think of what to tell you right now without spoiling the class. We've talked about design, we've talked about rules, we've talked about the story process and how to lead it. We've learned a lot of things. And just, wow. Learning is amazing. So, if you're like me, or even if you're not like me and you don't love learning, I really encourage you to try to learn something new every day. It can be something as simple as taking a look down a street you've never looked at, or looking at your wall and finding a pattern you never noticed in the cracks or something. I have paint bubbles that pop on my walls, and I sometimes make shapes out of them in my head, and I'm like, hey, I learned something about my house. Just try to learn something every day. It can be something small, it can be something big, it can be something that you end up using in your writing, it can be something that you just never use, but what matters is you learn something new, and that really helps you grow. Thank you so much for watching my video to the end, if you're still here. I, again, would love to ask you to hit that subscribe button so you can see more of my videos in the future. Let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below, and remember to be safe, be healthy, and don't forget to smile behind that face mask if you go outside. If you're inside and you don't have to wear a face mask, still smile. But if you're outside and you're wearing a face mask like you're supposed to, make sure to smile behind it too, because it's important to smile. That's something my dad ingrained in me. Smiling is a really good thing for you, so please smile. I hope I made you smile today. Take care, guys.